remember when I said that this week we are going to be talking about the ocean and everything that goes on in the ocean? It's a very big place, isn't it? And we've talked about the ocean before, I know, so we already know a lot of things, which is so great. And anybody who knows me knows the ocean is my very favorite place to be, right? And I know it is for a lot of my friends too. We always like to share our stories about going to the beach and having a good time. And I can remember my very special friend Harper went to the beach last summer, right? I know you had lots of fun. So, we're just going to talk about a couple of things right now that live in the ocean. Are you ready? Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about is what? Is a fish? That's right. There's all kinds of fish that live in the ocean, right? They're everywhere. And when they swim together in the ocean, because they do like to swim together, that's called a school of fish, right? That is right. How do fish breathe? They breathe underwater, don't they? That's what makes them a fish. Do you know what helps him guide himself around under the water? His tail and his fins, right? Oh, they act like little oars that move back and forth, and that helps them dart from left to right or up and down, right? It's their very own special way that they can swim. I don't think they could swim without their fish, without their tails and their fins. It would be very difficult for them to do that. Some fish live on the very, very bottom of the ocean. Some live on the very top, like right below the surface, and some live right in the middle. And wherever they live, they always have plenty to eat because they can always find it, right? Very good. The second thing that we're going to talk about is one of our favorites, I know. It's a dolphin. Dolphins are so special. Dolphins are so fun, aren't they? Sometimes when you see them in the ocean, they'll put on a show for you. They'll jump up and they'll jump back down in the water. And sometimes they'll just land on their backs. Sometimes they'll do a belly flop. They love to be playful. But do you know something? A dolphin is not a fish. Can you believe that? This is not a fish. Can you tell me why? I know you know why. Very good, because it breathes air, right? How does this dolphin breathe air? Do you remember? He's got a very special thing on the top of him. It's called a blowhole, right? And he has a flap that covers that blowhole. Whenever he goes down deep in the water, right, he'll cover it up so water cannot get in there. And then what does he do? He comes up to the surface and he blows out whatever water that may have gotten in. And then he takes a very deep breath, right? And then he goes right back in the water. Isn't that something? Would you think that this is not a fish? I think that's amazing. He's a marine mammal, and she has babies, and she gives milk to her babies, and she takes care of her babies, and I think that she is just a very fascinating mammal, and probably one of my very favorites. What about you? The last thing that we're going to talk about today is another really neat thing. It's a seahorse. Oh my goodness. Aren't they so amazing looking? I just love the way that they look. They are very tiny. And do you know what they do? They can camouflage themselves. You know how we talked about bugs? How bugs camouflage? Seahorses camouflage too. It keeps them safe. It keeps them safe in the ocean. And do you see You see the little curly tail on him? You know what he does with that tail? He will wrap himself around things in the ocean like a branch or coral, and he'll just grab on and he'll just float there, and then he'll just nip little things from the water that he can eat. Isn't that something? He'll just grab on and he'll just hang out for just a little bit and just eat. And do you know something else that's amazing? The daddy seahorse is the one with the pouch that keeps the eggs safe. Isn't that something? You know, there's another animal with a pouch. Do you remember what that animal is? It's a kangaroo, that's right. Is that amazing? A kangaroo has a pouch and a daddy seahorse has a pouch. Isn't that amazing? I think that is just so cool. But the daddy will keep all the little eggs in the pouch and keep them very safe. And when they hatch, they just drift away. They drift away, and then they do what little seahorses do. They'll use their little tails to hang on to something so that they can eat and have just a beautiful and colorful life down in the ocean. Isn't that great? So we talked about the seahorse and the dolphin and the fish. That was a lot of fun. We'll talk about some more tomorrow. Be thinking about what would you like to talk about that happens in the ocean? What would you like what are you thinking that you would like to have more information about that you don't know too much about? There's a lot going on down there. Good job. I really enjoyed this.